1994, and the White City Stadium makes history as a world record crowd of 25,500 converged to watch a tennis match, the Davis Cup final, USA versus Australia. Sydney 1996, and White City Stadium boasts the largest attendance for a men's tennis match since that day.
We had 12,240 people here at White City watching the tennis, and for the first time that I can ever remember, the people were in fact queued up at the turnstiles, down the walkway, up to the Shell service station, New South Head Road. Unbelievable scenes of people coming to White City.
So which players had the crowds come to support?
Mark Philippou,
Mark Woodford,
Jason Stoltenberg,
Todd Woodbridge,
Scott Draper, champion Australian tennis player.
The Australian contingent in the draw was a factor in attracting the fans, but the White City Stadium was also playing host to some of the top names in the game. And if you were young enough, you weren't just restricted to seeing them play on court. The introduction of Kids Day allowed children under 16 into the complex free of charge. The kids then had the opportunity to meet the top players and ask the questions they've always wanted to, in true press conference style.
What's your favourite kind of music?
I like everything, just not this heavy metal I don't like, and rap. I mean, I like disco music, usually disco and Croatian.
What's your favourite pastime, thing you do when you're not playing tennis?
Depends. When I'm home, then I like to play soccer or basketball or go to the beach or do something stupid.
So what did Goran think about Kids Day?
Yeah, I think that's a good thing what ATP did, gave the kids this fun fest and gave the kids and people opportunity to meet the players, to play with the players, to ask them a question, because in my time it would be before we didn't have such opportunity.
The number one seed had plenty of opportunities on court though, and without too many problems he survived the early rounds. But it wasn't so easy for the other seeds. Fourth seed Mark Rosset was forced out with an injured finger. Second seed Krajcek went out to Greg Ruzetsky, and third seed Arno Birch lost to Australian Richard Fromberg. 5 Australians in the quarterfinals of an ATP Tour event for the first time. But Fromberg and Scott Draper were beaten in the bottom half of the draw. The first semi-final saw world number 17 Todd Martin take on Britain's Greg Ruzetsky, a top 40 player with the talent and the time to go even higher. Ruzetsky has a fast, kicking, left-handed serve. If you can handle that, you're in good shape. With that perfectly executed breakpoint, Martin took control of the first set. Serving to close it out, his game plan was obvious. Martin is a deliberate but highly fluid mover. At 6'6", his serve has that extra bounce. It takes something special to break him. A half volley to be proud of. It really only had the width of the line to aim at. It had earned Ruzetsky a break of serve. But Martin kept his concentration and took the second set to a tie-break. At match point down, Ruzetsky was unlucky. With a broken string, he had to get in. And the pass was straightforward. Straight sets, but hard work for Martin, who looks well capable of getting into the top 10 again. In the final, he'd play either an old nemesis of his, Goran Ivanisevic, the top seed, or the crowd favourite, Todd Woodbridge, Sydney born and bred. Against Ivanisevic, Woodbridge knew an intelligent approach to the match was necessary. No point getting into a slugging match with a Croatian. For a player as level-headed as Woodbridge, hometown support can only help. But Ivanisevic is used to competing far from home, and he too is an old favourite in Sydney. Ivanisevic was world number 2 back in 1994, and you don't amass nearly $12 million in prize money without playing the big points well. First set to the left-hander. The world number 1 doubles player was going to require all his courtcraft and guile to get out of this one. Ivanisevic appeared rattled for a while, but he didn't lose his focus or his range. The second set went to a tie-break that Woodbridge had to win. The momentum swung between the two players, but in the end, the man with more firepower had the edge. Australia's hopes dashed. Ivanisevic through, and now with a chance to win a title on the ATP Tour for the first time in over a year. This week's talking point is Australian tennis. Since 1990. In the Peters International final at Sydney, he played Todd Martin, the president of the ATP Tour Player Council, and is respected off the court as he is on it by his fellow professionals. Ivanisevic faced an early crisis at 2-3, love 30, first set. Is this the new patient Ivanisevic? Constructing rallies rather than trying to blitz the winner too quickly. Martin at 6'6" is not supposed to have such potent ground strokes. Martin's crisis came at 5-all.
Love 30.
The Croatian gained a break with such free hitting, and he's very comfortable serving for a set.
Game in first set, Ivanisevic.
Ivanisevic is used to enjoying the highlights, but last year he struggled.
7 games, 5.
Martin gained the early break in the second set. His semi-final victory over another big left-hander, Greg Rusetsky, will have helped him against Ivanisevic.
Game in second set, Martin.
It was a set-all. Ivanisevic couldn't afford to start this set like he'd started the second, by losing his serve. But Martin did break, and was playing so well that he was only losing points to sheer inspiration. Martin just wasn't losing points on his own serve. Ivanisevic was chasing his tail. The curtains were being drawn on the Croatian's challenge. Martin served out calmly and efficiently.
Game service.
A well-contested final that had come down to a few crucial points. Todd Martin proving again that he possesses the mentality of a champion.
The tournament due to an ankle injury sustained in Melbourne. Number 2 seed Arnaud Birch went out in the first round to fellow Frenchman Guillaume Raoult. Number 5 seed David Prinnicil also made an early exit to another big serving Frenchman, Guy Forget.
Hello, we are the security at Croatian indoors. Welcome to Zagreb, welcome to Croatia.
The man in Zagreb is Goran Ivanisevic. He had a tussle in his quarter-final with Romania's Adrian Voinea, but came through to face another fearsome left-hander, Guy Forget. After 4 games, Forget was already up a break. Playing the top seed was never going to be easy, but with 14 years' experience as a pro, Forget has seen just about everything. The first set looked to be headed for a tie-break, but Forget put in a big effort at 6-5 up. It would go to the breaker. A shootout for the first set. Ivanisevic, 1 set up. After a demanding 7th game in the second set, it was the Frenchman who gained the break. And he'd soon made it a set all. This was the first time during the week that Forget had gone to a third set. It was one of those matches that would be decided by a single point here or there. Forget held steady, following all the rules of fast-court tennis. Ivanisevic too was holding serve with authority. At 4-5, the deadlock was broken. Ivanisevic has played 27 events in the past year, but this was the first time he could feel the full force of a capacity crowd behind him. He had used their energy well. And he could now afford the luxury of sitting back and studying the form of the 2 remaining semi-finalists, former top tenor Cedric Pioline and 6'5" German Mark Gollner. Both were unseeded, but had beaten higher-ranked men along the way. Gollner can play on all surfaces. He has good touch and volleys, but he could do nothing with this. That pass helped Pioline to a break of serve, and he didn't hold back when he'd earned the initiative. At 4-5 down in the first, the German had one last chance to stay in the set. A positive return, but it was Pioline in front. Early in the second, a demonstration of why it's a good idea to volley behind your opponent. It's harder to stop and change direction than it is to run onto a ball. The second set went to a tiebreaker. Golner took the early lead, but Pioline was to come back with brilliance. Maybe the hardest shot in tennis, executed perfectly. At match point, he made Golner suffer again. He's a top-class athlete, Cedric Pioline. He was through to face Ivanisevic and Croatia in the final. This week, we're in focus with Zagreb finalist Cedric Pioline, and looking for his 13th victory. Pioline, having saved 2 match points earlier in the tournament, was in his 8th final. Perhaps this was the day that Cedric finally would see the French national flag raised in his honor. People make a mistake in assuming that Ivanisevic is only a power player. He's won tournaments on all 4 surfaces: clay, grass, hard, and indoors. And Pioline's no loser, despite coming second in 7 finals. He served for the first set of this one. First set, Pioline. This is not what the fans had come to see. That was better. His aggression took him ahead in the second set, and his serve kept him there. He started 1996 well, with 10 match victories already. Hard to believe this was Pioline's first tournament of the year. And now it was a set all. A time for players of all standards to slow down, think clearly, and find some inspiration. The best point of the week. Well appreciated by Franjo Tudjman, the Croatian president. The Frenchman was seeing his dream of an ATP Tour title slipping away again. With Daniela, his longtime girlfriend, looking on, Ivanisevic stepped up to the line at 5-2. The perfect start. He was 3 points away from an emotional victory. Now just 2 away. They were loving it.
Dame I gospodo, molim. Hvala. 40 ništa.
The final service game was turning into a lap of honor for Croatia's #1 sporting hero.
Igra set, susret, Ivanisevic.
The glorious conclusion to a brand new tournament. And for many reasons, it was right that Ivanisevic should triumph in his troubled country.
With him and lose with him. They are happy next day or sad, depends on his results.
Every time Goran Ivanisevic walks on court, he carries the hopes and expectations of an entire nation.
The things that he has done for Croatia during the war times, after the war, and the things that he's doing right now for Croatia, I mean, you almost can't describe it. And he's a sports hero.
Goran's successes are not just confined to the tennis court. 4 years ago, he set up his own charity foundation. The aim? To help the innocent victims of the war, the children of Croatia.
Kids, they need to have fun, and anybody who can help, it's nice. because you have so many kids in Croatia without family, without food, and they have to think about future. And if I can help with that foundation, that's what I'm trying to do. If I can help one kid, it's one kid, but I knew I helped that kid, but I think I'm gonna help a lot of kids.
Goran's talent and his great dedication to the game have enabled him to get to the top of professional tennis. His success has encouraged a new generation of Croatian tennis players to take up the sport.
Croatia has a very long history of tennis and had a lot of players ranked in the top 10 in the last 50 years. But Goran has gone furthest. There's a lot of kids playing tennis because of him. I feel that he's one of the best things that's ever happened to our sport.
Last year, his influence came to the fore when he and Sasha Hirzon led their nation on a fairy tale journey to the final of the World Team Cup. It was perhaps the finest moment in the history of Croatian tennis.
It's very important to have somebody like top 10, like Goran. You can practice with him sometimes. You can see how he's serving. You can play double sometimes. We spend like 2 or 3 weeks a year for the Davis Cup. Last year we played in World Team Cup together. I mean, I try to teach everything him and his top 10 player. I mean, he's one of the best players in the world.
And how does the man himself cope with all this praise and expectation?
One point it's nice, the other point is sometimes it's not pressure, but it's like a lot of people expecting a lot, thinking you have to do well and all the stuff, but that's the prize. If you want to be number one, that's the price you're paying in every country.